I'm Virginia Lee, and this is my oral presentation for communication theory. I'm doing expectancy violation theory, and I'm analyzing the film How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And I'm supposed to show my audience, but they don't want to be shown. So if you could just say hey.
Hey.
Okay, so the plot of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So basically, Andy Anderson is a writer for Composure magazine, and she's like the how-to girl, and she's known for, and her job is to write how-tos for the magazine, and her boss wants her to stick with that. Andy really wants to write like for things that matter, but she's stuck right now writing about shoes and breakups and makeup and stuff. So they're in a meeting, and her best friend just got broken up with, and this inspires her article, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, where she will try to drive a guy away. Like, she does the common mistakes of most women and how they drive away guys they're dating and guys they like. And and then on the other side, another story that is going to join with Andy is Ben Berry, and he works in advertising. He wants to make a pitch for a jewelry campaign. So he makes a bet with his boss, and he says that he can bring a girl to the ball, to their jewelry campaign ball, and she'll be in love with him. And so Ben and Andy meet, and their worlds join together, and they use each other for their career projects. So while Andy's trying to drive Ben away, Ben hangs on because he wants to win the bet. And so they both have this 10-day time period. And before those 10 days are up, they vacation together, and they actually form an emotional bond, and they get to see each other apart from their projects that they're both trying to achieve with each other. And they see their actual selves, and they fall in love. And so Andy attends the ball with Ben as his girlfriend, and all's well in the world. And then, of course, everything destructs, and their original plans are exposed, and there's a big breakup. But classic rom-com, Ben chases after Andy, and they're together, and everything is great, happily ever after. Okay, and so now I'll get into the expectancy violation theory, and this is just a summary of this theory. This is the theory that I analyzed in the film. So basic things and key concepts. So we expect certain behavior. We all have expectancies, and all these expectancies are formed by our culture and our context and settings, or our personal experiences. These all shape our expectations of the behavior that we expect to see in other people. And so when someone deviates from the behavior that we expect, a violation occurs. So deviation equals violation. But all violations are not bad. There's some positive, there's some negative, but there's also some positive. And we interpret and we evaluate these violations, and we use the term valence to decide if they're positive or negative. And also the who matters in this theory, the who matters. So you weigh so many different things in this theory, and you weigh it, and there's a value, and whether like who is the one that is violating your expectation can determine whether you see it as a positive or negative, or your relationship as a whole. And so those are a few key concepts of the expectancy violation theory. And in my PowerPoint, you'll see a clip from the movie, and this is where Andy and Ben are out to eat because Ben had just cooked this great, amazing dinner for Andy, and trying to make her fall in love with him as his project is supposed to go. And he cooks lamb, and Andy says, and she just freaks out, has this breakdown because she doesn't eat meat. So they, and the Knicks game is on, so he's very aggravated with that, but to this girl, his career, he is bringing her to this restaurant to try to make up for it. And so Andy is eating, and she comes back, and Ben checks on her, and he's like, what's wrong? And she has another emotional breakdown, and she says, my boyfriend thinks I'm fat. And so Andy is deviating in so many ways from Ben's expectations, and this is a negatively balanced violation, because Ben is not enjoying this, but again, the who matters, because it's Andy, and Andy is the girl that he's trying to win the bet with, so he has to stick with it, otherwise he would not. So some more application into the film is, it's in so many different scenes, but like, just for another example, the first date did not end in sex. Andy tried to, Andy did not want to have sex with him, but that is an expectation, and it did not. Andy gets more and more clingy, and Ben interprets and evaluates all her violations as negative. She's constantly violating his expectations, and she as well is being violated because he is not being driven away like she expected. So, but in the vacation together, they reevaluate, and these are some positive. When they're in the vacation together, they begin to fall in love. They are having some positive violations, and it ends up with sex in the bathroom, and so all is well. And then the big breakup is also when their plans have unfolded and exposed. This is also a huge negative valence violation. So to wrap up, some conclusions that the theory, I have more to say, but the time limit. So this theory is in our daily life. We can use it. We can think about Kanye West and Taylor Swift and that big scene that they had a few years ago, where Kanye West comes up on stage, and she is so shocked and negatively. This was a complete violation to her expectations. Proximity, like our cultural expectations. If you're too close to me and I didn't expect you to be in my bubble, that's a negative violation. So just some final comments really quick. So this theory can be used for good. It can be used for good. It can bring joy to a lot of people because it can be positively valence. And so, like, people will pay it forward, or you can smile at strangers, or just specifically like our current situation, like coronavirus, like making the best out of this pandemic and reacting in a certain way can definitely be a positive balanced violation to what we expect in this world, which is what we expect right now in the world, which is fear. So I think I went over, but thank you, and that's all. Got it.